Hi guys, and thanks for joining me today down here at Teardrop Lakes in Milton Keynes. This is a series of 4 lakes that you can only fish free of. This is on the MKA ticket book, which will cost you for 2 rods £55 or for 3 rods £72, obviously along with a rod licence. You can also day ticket these waters. I think that comes out around £7-8, something like that, but double check that. Fantastic little set of waters. We'll give you some nice pictures of it all as we go through. Have a little trek about to see if we can find them. Now, we've been in the water now for probably 20-30 minutes. We've had a couple of nice knocks, but we've also been done by the swans. So yeah, all we're going to do today is have a walk around the lakes, try and find a fish, try and jump on top of them and see if we can just nick one out in a couple of hours. And yeah, why not? Okay, bait. What are we using for bait today and how much? Well, that's quite a thing this time of year, how much, because everybody sees a little bit of sunshine and you just want to hoof it in. I know the feeling. We get carried away, we think it's a heat wave when really it's just one warm day. So last night I made a mix up of some hemp and maize from Kent Particles. I'd had that out for over the weekend anyway, and what I've done with it is I just mixed up some very small micro pellets, which I'd normally put into my PVA solid bags, and some slightly bigger, maybe 5-6 mil sticky baits krill pellet. I mixed all that together in a big pot with a load of salt, and this is what I made out of it this morning. I've only brought a few of these out because we're only here for a little while and there isn't no point in putting too much bait in the water, but this is literally our 3 offerings. They're not very big, they don't need to be big, nice and tight, snugged up in there. That's a little nice parcel of bait. So what have I brought with me to put on as a hook bait? Let's have a look. We've got some pepperami. I do love a bit of pepperami, and so do the fish. Don't ever forget that. Fake corn. Do not ever leave home without fake corn, especially if you're using particle. It's fantastic, just as straight on its own on the hair, or just as a little tipper. This is just a little bag which was given to me. I believe these are called OG fish from Parker Baits. A friend of mine gave me these to test out a little while ago. So I thought I'm going to try it and just tip that off with a bit of fake corn. That fake corn has actually been soaked in hemp oil for a fair amount of time, which is very good. And also just some little white grill pop-ups, which I've been pimping up for a while, with some hot sauce and some hemp oil. So yeah, that's it. Really keeping it simple. Not a lot of bait, as you can see. I've got a little rucksack here with some other bits and pieces in. That's just end tackle and stuff like that. That is literally all the bait I've got here today. Keep it simple, guys. Keep it light. Keep moving on your feet. Don't get strapped down by carrying buckets and buckets of gear. We all do it. I do it. It's not a good idea, not when you want to move around quick. And to be fair, this time of year, you know, you've got to be on them. So it's pointless coming down here, setting up a whole base camp without even over there in front of you. So that's what we're going to do today. Whether it works or not, we'll find out as the day goes on. So just to give you a little bit of a look at this lake, this is the real narrow end. It does go a lot more narrower down there, which I'll get some pictures of in a second, but this is actually the swim we're actually fishing in. We're just across there. I love the reefs this time of year, and obviously the lake opens up very wide over there. Well, that's that one done. Let's move on to the next lake, see if we can find them. Well, keep looking, keep moving, that's what it's about. Okay guys, so we've just got up to lake 2. This is your first quick look at it. All the lakes are joined by these overflows, which then come into the streams over here and obviously go off into the next lake. That's obviously lake 3. We had a quick look at that a second ago. You're not allowed to fish there. It's a complete bird sanctuary. You can't usually get anywhere near it. It looks like I've done some shopping over there, so you actually probably could, but please don't. Yeah, and this is a look at the lake. Lake 2 at the second. Absolutely looking gorgeous. Very, very shallow on all these edges, so I can actually see the bottom there. Just want to show the net I'm using today. This is the 50-inch Sonic fader net with the 2-piece pole. This is quite a big net, but with the 2-piece pole, it collapses so nice and small. I just fold it in half and then wrap the net around it, and I can travel. I mean, look at the size of this thing. And you know, I'm traveling around the lakes just trotting along with this. And honestly, it's a beautiful net to use. It cost me around £55, I believe, from Angling Direct. I think that's a reasonable deal. And yeah, just the fact that you can snap that pole in half, you know, and then I'll just do that, and then obviously just wrap the net around it whilst traveling. Absolutely beautiful bit of kit, and yeah, a really handy addition to moving light and fast. And these are things you've got to think about when we're in move light and fast. It's no good clunking around with a huge heavy chair, or you know, loads of big stuff. I mean, I have a chair for today, but it's a very lightweight chair, which we'll discuss in a while. But yeah, the net is a big key. Obviously, we need them. We want a good one. This is definitely worth the money. Let's talk fish stock. What's actually in here? Well, they no longer seem to be printed on the page in the book, which I was going to have a look at for you. So I'll double check this online when I get home. But I did used to fish this lake a hell of a lot back in the early days. And yeah, there is pretty much everything to go for in here, from your rudd, roach, perch, bream, tench, carp, probably a few little pike in here as well. And you know, yeah, just pretty much everything to go for. Like, and they all go to really good sizes. I mean, I can remember back in the early days fishing here with the kids over on Lake 1, just using some, you know, small rods and pulling out some real great looking perch. You know, I mean, real big clonkers. So that was really nice. But today we're fishing for carp, so let's talk about carp. I'm not sure on the sacked record or what the biggest one out here is, but I do know people have had them up to about £28 out here, which is a good size for a small lake like this. Okay, so we're on Lake 1 now. This is the lake closest to the National Bowl. Probably one of my favourite lakes through the years, where I used to fish this a lot. I'm not sure if this one holds the bigger fish or not. Everyone says Lake 4 does because they pass through the streams. Would kind of make sense, I guess, but who knows? Who knows? I think they all hold really good fish. So let's just talk a little bit more about the Teardrop Lakes themselves. As I've said before, there's 4 lakes and you can only fish 3 of them, which is number 1, this one, the next one, number 2, then number 3 you can't fish, and then number 4, where we started this morning, obviously you can fish again. Number 1 and 4, there is quite a lot of room around them. Like, you know, you can see behind me here, and this is pretty much like on every swim. There's a lot of area behind it to put bivvies up and stuff like that. Some bits a little bit on a hill, but you know, I've managed to do it perfectly fine over the years. Obviously, I don't have that with me today, but yeah, there is lots and lots of room for you to get set up. If you come here with kids, they've got plenty of room to play football, as I used to all the time bring the kids here. Lake 2 on the path side of the lake is a little bit more squished. If you want to try and get a bivvy in there or anything like that, if you're stopping up for the night, it's a little bit more tighter, but it is possible. You know, it isn't impossible. Done it plenty of times, plenty of people do. So yeah, you can do that still. And accessibility, how easy is it to find these lakes? Well, it's not too hard, to be fair. The National Bowl is literally just over there. And at the other end of the complex, where on Lake 4, you're right next to Morrison's, which is next to the train centre. So, you know, if you get to Milton Keynes and you don't know the area very well, it isn't that hard. I'm going to bring up a map in a minute, which will show you the place. There's 2 car parks here. One of them, as you come into Knoll Hill, you'll turn off at a street called Garforth Place, which will bring you to the car park just over my shoulder here, next to these buildings. That is the best place to park if you want to fish Lake 1 or 2. It's very, very close to them, and you can leave your car there overnight. Obviously, it's at your own risk. There is no gates for it to be locked behind or anything like that. There is a car park up by Lake 4, but it is quite a bit further away from the lake than this car park is. I'll show you an image of that in a second with the street name, so you know where to turn in for that. But yeah, it's not a difficult lake to find, and to be fair, it's quite nice around here. Today I'm here completely on my own. You've got a bit of human traffic that comes past. Obviously it's a park lake, so that's always going to happen. Now, as I said a moment ago, this is very quiet today. There is absolutely no one here on any of the lakes. However, that does change a lot. Obviously, if this time of year coming to weekends and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot more busier. Once we start hitting summertime, these lakes do get busy. They do hold matches on these lakes, so always check out if there's any matches. You can find out about them either on the MKAA website, on their Facebook page, or if you own a book, they should all be listed in there as well. So yeah, just watch out for that, obviously, because you can't be fishing here when there's a match on. But yeah, other than that, it's a nice little place to fish, and it's been going for years here now. It's the standard park rate. Kids, is this place kid friendly? You'll have to be your own judge of that, I guess. My kids grew up fishing here. They learned most of their skills from fishing all the lakes around Milton Keynes. Again, it's park lakes. You never know what you're going to really get till you get here on the day. It's pretty much open access to absolutely anybody that wants to fish. So that is something you'll have to judge for yourself. But kids are welcome to fish at these places. And under a certain age, I believe it's fishing for free for children. I'll pop that up on the screen now for you. But yeah, come on down, give it a try, see what you think. As I say, there's a bit of everything for people in here. I used to spend hours and hours fishing here with just the float rod, fishing for perch, wild roach, small bream. We had some real good cronkers of perch out of here over the years, which is absolutely epic fun in my eyes. There's some beautiful sized carp in here in all of the lakes, and loads of tensions. I think I might have already said before, the stocking programs for MKA Waters, I think, are very good, and the guys are working hard to keep them that way. So yeah, come on down, have a bit of fun, and see if you like it. So a plane going above overhead, catching my attention. But yeah, hi guys, and you join me back down here today at the Teardrop Lakes. This is 2 days after the last bit of film that we've done, which was a bit unproductive. Sorry if the vocals are a little bit low, but we've only been here for a little while, maybe 10 minutes. Coming onto Lake 2, straight away I spotted a carp. See it come around the bushes and found literally another 5. So we've got a little bit, one of the little mesh bags, and with a tiger nut as a hook bait, popped it out there. They did spook off a little bit, but now they've come right back in, and I can see them mooching around down there. So fingers crossed, we might get one in a moment or two. But very nice just to see them move around. Today's weather is absolutely brilliant. Completely different conditions to the other day. The other day was quite nice and warm, but the night times have been getting freezing still, so it's been a very slow start to the days, where last night was completely different. We stayed quite warm all last night, and today is going to be a real scorcher. I mean, it's already getting up there. It's already really nice. Hence the shorts and a t-shirt, no fleece today, and got the old glasses on. Yeah, just seriously hopeful. Obviously try and keep it down a little bit, because we're literally a few foot off the bank. So there's a nice little tree to the side here. I'll show you in a moment or two. They're just on the other side of that in a minute. They keep coming in and out. So yeah, feeling really hopeful today. Really good feeling about it. But the place just looks beautiful, and yeah, it's just lovely to be back down here, to be fair. As I say, the other day we only had a few hours to walk around, and it was trying to give you a little bit of information about the place at the same time. I'm not sure how long we'll stay down here for today. It's the same sort of process. We've only got the one rod, travelling really light, just walking from swim to swim, trying to find fish, trying to get on top of them, which was the biggest problem the other day. I just didn't find them. For all the trying, sometimes it just doesn't work. And, the temperature was so up and down, but yeah, already found them today. already on top of them, so let's hope for the best, really. Exciting times, and yeah, just lovely weather to be out here, so very, very nice. We've gone with exactly the same mix up today in the PVA bags. It's the other day, except for today we haven't pre-made them all. I've just brought a small amount down with me with some PVA left stocking, as I thought I could show you through today just how I go about building them and using the stocking for some of you guys that might not have used them yet. I know a lot of you guys probably have, but these videos are from everyone from start to finish. So we will be going over that shortly. But for now, just going to keep an eye on this spot and hope for the best. And sorry for keep twitching over there, but it's just exciting. I can see him coming in and out. So okay, so we've been in this spot for about half an hour now, maybe a little bit more. Seen them come in and out. They've gone over the top of the bait quite a few times, and they're just smooching around. I think they're just interested in bathing up in the sun at the minute. We're going to give it another half hour in this spot, I think. And if they don't get any takes or any interest in the bait, then I might just sprinkle a couple of little tiger rods, maybe 4 or 5 tiger rods, and a couple of bits of corn down there. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit. I mean, it's a much warmer day today, and it's going to be a warmer day all round, but we don't want to just fire the bait and like we're in the middle of summer, because we're definitely not. 2 days ago we were still hitting minus at night. So we must always remember that. I know I keep saying about it, but we do, everybody does it. I do it, everybody else does it. You just jump on it and start pound baiting, and it's not the right thing to do. So anyway, like I was saying, I'm going to give it another half hour here maybe. If we don't have any takes, we'll sprinkle a little bit of bait in, a very small amount, and then there's a little bit down the end there which I want to have a look at, which I've done well out of before. I've got a good feeling they're going to be down there. But as I say, for the moment they are here. They do keep coming in and out. There's a couple that are sitting right underneath the tree. I don't want to put a line underneath the tree. It's very tempting, but you've got to restrain sometimes from doing that, because looking at myself, I know it's very, very snaggy down there. And do not ever jeopardise fish safety for a catch rate. It's just not worth it. We want to catch these fish multiple times, not just once. It's not just like catch a fish, get a picture. It doesn't matter what happens afterwards. No, the likelihood of fishing down there is you won't get it out. So fish safely, I'm fishing just past the tree, but they are coming in and out. They have been over the top of it. So all we can do is hope, and as I say, half hour more maybe, then sprinkle a few little free offerings in, and then we're going to go and have a look down the end there maybe, and look at the whole lake as we go down. There's a couple of chaps across the way there. They look like they've been fishing there for a little while. They're just packing up. Obviously down there doing a bit of course fishing early in the morning. Some of these guys get down there quite early and they'll leave by lunchtime. It's quite often that you see people do that. Not a lot else to report at the second. I just can't take my eyes off over there at the minute, because they do keep coming in and out, and it's a lovely sight to see them. But I just wish I had a few togs on the line to pay off. But I've got such a good feeling today. I do really think we're going to get 1 or 2 out today, which would be lovely. So yeah, that's the score at the minute. We're going to hold tight. We're not going to do anything for at least half an hour. If we don't get anything, we'll bring it in, chuck a couple of freebies in, and head down the bottom there and see if we can spot any more moving around. And then come back to this spot a bit later on and see if they're up for eating, see if they've took the bait. The free offerings, I can see clearly into the water there. The water's beautifully clear today. So yeah, another little good tip as well is I'm sort of sat back here from the water, and another good tip is to try and refrain from people standing up or keep moving closer to the water to try and see the fish all the time. I know they're there. The more you get up, the more you move around, the more you're going to spook them, and the less likely you've got them taking a bait. So restrain, stay sat down, stay a little bit away from the bank. Yeah, restrain from people standing up. stay a little bit away from the bank, close enough so you can get to your rod quick enough. But you know, even though we've got the A5 just over there and then the train tracks just after that, and you can see the human traffic coming across here, you know, this isn't a very quiet place, but with the water being that clear and it being quite shallow there, they can see us. You know, they will speak off. So yeah, just refrain from moving around too much or keep trying to peek, trying to watch them, you know. Okay, so a quick look at what we're putting in our stockings. This is pretty much it. Exactly the same mix as what we had the other day. It is the same mix. But, you know, obviously now the pellet's got a bit more soft, a bit more mushier. You can see there, we've got plenty of hemp, maize, pellet, the micro pellet, salt, lots of nice stuff. So basically, when I get a stock in there, so many different places that sell this stuff now. It really doesn't matter where you get it from, just make sure it dissolves well. There's different types of different stretchiness, width, and all stuff like that, but have a good look. There's so many different ones you can get. And we're just going to take a small amount of this. I don't know if you can see there, but about half filling that. Definitely not filling it up, just, you know, half to a quarter before it's squashed down. And when I squash that down, that almost goes to a quarter of the tube. And we're going to slowly just ease it out, keeping it nice and tight. Take the plunger out, and you can see there, and push it down with my fingers, and the pellets are crushing up. And give it a twist. It's nice and tight, and let some loose off, and then we're going to literally form a knot. Put it down, nice and tight like that. Now don't worry if that knot doesn't go tight to the bottom there straight away. Just tie another knot, and it will, over the top of that, and it will go down. The more you do this, the easier it gets. And then what I like to do is just tie another knot in it, and you've got a little gap there, and then we'll just snip that off, and that's a nice little solid nugget of food. I mean, you can even do them smaller than that. Sometimes you might want them slightly bigger. This time of year, I think that's plenty. As I say, sometimes they're even doing smaller than that, but keep it nice and tight so that breaks up nice and quick in the water. I find hemp's a nice one to have in there, it just sort of breaks away and starts easing off and helps it explode a bit out. But, yep, there we go, and we'll just do another one of them. So afterwards, just ease your stocking back on, and then we're going to put, again, just a small amount to filter into the tube. I just forgot to mention there is a couple of tiger nuts in there as well, actually. And again, we're just going to push it down nice and slowly, keeping it very compact the whole time. Take your plunger out, twist it, make sure it's nice and solid. Then I'm going to ease off some excess so we can tie the knot. Get that knot nice and tight down onto that. Well, it's a little bit loose that one, but it's fine. It's got to tie a knot on straight on top of that one, like I said before. Getting that as tight as you can get it. See, that second knot is, just like I said a bit ago, that second knot is completely tightened up now, so that is a solid unit that will burst apart in the water nicely. And then we're going to tie the second one to form the gap so we can give it the snip. See? And there we go, another little solid nugget. And as I say, they're not too big. Just a nice little pile of food. That one's actually a little bit smaller than the first one, but ideal really, I think. It helps keep the rig out straight, stops the tangling and flying back on itself. It's a nice little pile of food around your hook bait. Absolutely perfect. Okay, PVA stocking. What else can I tell you about it? This one here that I'm using, 18mm. I really enjoy using 18mm for this type of stocking. It works very well for me, and It just makes them perfect little nugget sizes, which I was telling you about earlier on. Again, let's just show you quickly. Other sizes I really like using is the 24, 25mm. Perfect for dropping boilies in. You don't have to break them up or try and squeeze them through this thin tube. Also, that would be pretty good for making something like the depth charge that Adam Penning makes. We can do another video on that at another time. Like I said, there are so many different types. You have to have a look about, feel about, see what you like yourself. But personally, for me, it is generally the 18mm or the 25 I really like. Just for that reason. The 18 makes these really nice and tight, and the 25 is just easy to drop the boilies through. Or if you want to make a big fat stick and then feed your rig through it, that's absolutely perfect too. You could also feed your rig through these as well. What I tend to do is just make a little hole in them, and then you can just feed your rig through there. But we'll do another video on that another time. Obviously, if you're using this stuff in the wet, you've got to be very, very careful because it's PVA, it dissolves. I do find this a little bit easier to use in the wet conditions than solid PVA bags, but it is still PVA and it will still melt, so be careful. Another thing that people don't normally take into account for, like today, is a very hot day out here today, and you know what happens when we get hot? We get a bit sweaty. Well, you're going to melt this stuff too with your sweaty hand. I mean, you're going to hold on to it like this, you're plunging in it, and what happens, you take your hand off, you try and move this down, and it's all stuck together, and you've ruined it. So on wet days, or seriously hot days, maybe don't put a whole refill onto your tube at a time. Just put a small amount on at a time, use that, because then if it gets wet, or if your hand gets too sweaty and it sticks together, everything's not completely ruined. You can just take off the bit that's got a bit damaged and put some fresh stuff on, and you're not wasting all your money. Pre-making stockings. So I do pre-make stockings quite often. The last visit down here that we've done, I pre-made them in the morning before leaving to come here. So that was literally probably an hour before I got here. The baggies were made up and put into a sealy bag and then brought here. Other times I have made them the night before. I've put some juice over them and stuff like that, and then put them in a tub and then brought them out the next day. What I will say to you, depending on which stocking you've got or what you're putting over the top of them or inside them, all depends on how fast they'll melt and if they'll still melt. So always be careful of that. So if you're pre-making them at home, please check them in a little tub or a sink whether they're actually going to melt and how long they take to melt. I mean, it's a good idea to know how long they take to melt. So, you know, some of these can take anything from, you know, a few minutes to 5 to 6, 7 minutes. So you really need to know that. And obviously that's going to help you if you're fishing deep lakes to get it from the top down to the bottom of the lake. You don't want something that's melting so fast that it's not even reaching the bottom of the lake. That's a good tip for you there. Okay, so I've moved swim again. I'm now in swim 15, which is second from last swim, or first swim, whichever way you want to say it. Heading towards Lake 1 next to the car park. Swim 14 is just there, which will be the last one on this stretch. We're in a real narrow stretch now of the lake. Like the kind of little canal stream bit that leads off into the overflow of the Lake 1. We was in that last swim for probably 2.5 hours. There wasn't any signs when it's for bird life, so I thought I'd come down here and give this a little try. What I'm probably going to do is spend a couple of hours here fishing just in the middle of the stream here, rather than hogging the banks like I've done for most of the day, trying to get right onto the reeds or the bush line, hogging the bank a lot of the time. What I've decided to do now is just fish the middle open of this stream, because I know they do flow down here. So yeah, hopefully we'll pick one up as they either come in and out. If nothing happens in the next couple of hours here, because we're already at 3 o'clock nearly, I think. What we'll do, if we have nothing in the next couple of hours, we're going to move back up the lake to peg 22, where we started, where we see the fish. We had a little bit more fish action. They wasn't really interesting earlier, but we did put a few free tiger nuts and maize bits down there, just a small amount, just a small little handful. So we're going to pop back up there in a couple of hours if nothing happens here. If something happens here, we might stay longer, obviously. But if nothing happens here, I'll go back up there. We'll have a look, see if that bait's gone, see if the fish are still hanging around there, see if we can get them feeding now. Okay, so I'm back in peg 22 now. This is where we started. This is where we see the fish to start with this morning. Where we sprinkled that little bit of bait in. Come back, I've looked in the shallows. The bait's definitely gone. The bottom's been knocked up a little bit. The water's a little bit more crowded. I definitely can't see through that water as clear as I could earlier, which is a brilliant sign that the fish have actually been feeding there, because this morning they were just bathing. They was just lapping up that sunshine. But it is a lot more muddy down there now. The water's not as clear, so that's really hopeful. We've got one of the little tiny stockings out, which we've covered in some worm goo.